What is up, YouTube, and welcome to the Extra Point Special Draft Edition. We are live here in North Carolina, joined by Nick Holman and Canyon Combs on Skype. You can hear him talking through the microphone.
What's up?
Rundown of today. It is going to be a 2-hour-long episode. Like I said, we are live. We're going to be talking about the Gronk trade to the Bucks. How significant it is, how it's going to shake up the NFC South, and are the Buccaneers the best team in the NFC South and, in the NFL, honestly, at this point.
Maybe.
Topic number 2, we got going over our team needs. Every single team in the NFL, what they need to address this draft. Going to our third topic, we're going to be going over betting. How the quarterback situations, running back situations, how many are going to be taken in the first round? Going to be doing betting. But if we have a good bit of viewers and some good viewers going on in the chat, asking questions, we can just answer those questions until the 7 o'clock mark. And at 7 o'clock, we will be doing our mock drafts. Picks 1 through 32, who we got taken. Stay tuned. First topic, Gronk. As you can see, Nick, and if you're a fan of the show, Nick Holman right here is a huge Patriots fan.
Big time.
Gronk traded to the Bucks, Nick.
I know. It's not that hard, honestly, for me to understand, okay? He has said for years Tom Brady is his quarterback, so naturally he's going to follow Tom Brady. Let's be honest, the guy looks good. He's skinnier now. He's in shape. He's on that CBD, he's healed up a little bit. He looks good. He's primed, ready to get back in action. Why not stick with the quarterback you've had your whole career? I'm not mad. It's good for him, and obviously it's great for the Bucks because we already were talking about how stacked their offense is.
It's phenomenal.
They officially have the best offense in football. They got they can do Patrick Mahomes and Chiefs stuff. They could probably pass it 40 times a game. Brady's arm can handle it, I'm sure. And they'll be fine.
Yeah.
And they'll put up 40 points a game.
It's ridiculous, but, we all have – the Chiefs are stacked on offense, but their defense is a little lackluster, kind of par. Maybe you even say below par.
They are.
Okay.
They just are.
And you look at the Buccaneers, their defense was one of the best in the NFL, especially the front seven. Their front seven they don't even need to touch it. Their front seven is phenomenal.
I agree.
Their secondary was what was killing them. And this draft, it is stacked. There's a bunch of corners. There's a bunch of safeties. And they could address their DB needs in this draft alone. But going to their offense, you even said it. They got Mike Evans on the outside. You got Chris Godwin on the outside. You got Gronk in the middle.
Yep.
They didn't even need Gronk. They got O.J. Howard. But I don't even know what they're going to do with him. They could trade him.
They could
get another pick. They could keep him
2 tight ends
and run a 2 tight end set. The Aaron Hernandez, Rob Gronkowski thing.
Exactly.
Hopefully, he doesn't turn into an Aaron Hernandez, but that's besides the point. And then you got Brady to throw to him. And I know their running game wasn't very good last year, but I could have them taking a running back in the first round to solidify that offense.
A running back in the first round.
I could see it.
There are none worthy of first round.
I might have a running back in the first round.
There might be a couple of good running backs I know what you're talking about, but they're not first round worthy.
Could be.
That could be
because I think they need a running back. And
that could be disappointing for you.
And then also, you got to look at coaching. You could say the same thing. People are saying that it's the Browns, basically. It's the Cleveland Browns.
No.
Over again.
No.
It's not. Because Freddie Kitchens was the problem with the Browns last year. And this year, for the Buccaneers, who do they have at coach? Bruce fucking Arians, who is a damn good coach.
He's a good coach.
And he is an offensive genius.
He's very good offensively. He's another coach. I don't know if he vibes on both sides of the field, though, because he's got a lot of talent on defense.
He does.
Can they put it together? Todd Bowles, I guess if there's one thing he can do, he's a pretty solid defensive play caller. I'll give him that. So maybe he puts it in the hands of Todd Bowles. I don't trust Todd Bowles very much at all, given his horrible track record as a head coach with the Jets a few years ago. So I think he needs to take over more control of defense. But offensively, dude, they're the best offensive football. Like, Tom Brady's going to be 43 when the season starts. We'll assume it starts.
Yep.
But it's not get into that now.
Don't make me cry.
Right. Patrick Mahomes is what, 25? 24?
24, 25.
43-year-old is going to be MVP caliber over Patrick Mahomes, and they're going to have the best offense in football. That's how crazy it's going to be.
They will be. And I'm honestly thinking it could. I don't want to give my prediction away now because I usually like to wait until right after preseason to give my Super Bowl prediction.
It's too late.
It could be a Tampa Bay Buccaneer and Kansas City Chief Super Bowl. Honestly,
That would be amazing.
It could happen.
There
And
would be no better game.
I don't know the schedule of Tampa, but are we going to see a Tom Brady and Bill Belichick match in the regular season? Is it going to happen?
No, I would have already
No?
marked it on my calendar as the weirdest day of my life. No, I don't believe so. They
Okay.
haven't came out with the schedules. They came out with a plan. I don't believe we're playing y'all's division this year. I believe that was a couple of years ago. Unfortunately, I know.
Damn, that would have been
How,
good. That would have been good.
How depressing. But hey, maybe Jarrett Stidham is secretly amazing. Those 40 touchdowns. We got the Super Bowl. We knocked down Mahomes, and it's Pats and Bucks Super Bowl. That's definitely far-fetched. I know. I know. I shouldn't have gone there.
I do see a dynasty
there.
cooking with New England after he has 12 picks. He has 12 fucking draft picks. And we all know how Bill Belichick is in the draft. Phenomenal.
He's actually, yeah.
And he's got 12 fucking draft picks. So I see another fucking dynasty going Patriots' way
So do I.
until Bill Belichick dies of old age because I don't see him coaching. Stop
He
coaching.
may
anytime soon.
die on the field. I don't know when the guy's going to retire. How many people
Never,
said
never.
when Brady leaves, Bill leaves?
I said it.
Exactly.
I said it, and that's
He's
not
still
happening.
here. He's ready to go. He's ready to prove he can do it without Tom Brady.
He
We're
could.
good.
He can.
Now, when Bill leaves, waterworks.
Yo, you're done.
That's officially over.
You are done.
I'm not going to think about that.
Don't cry on camera, please.
I
But so
won't.
you look at Tampa and how good their team is. So you've got the Falcons, phenomenal offense, horrible defense, but their offense is stacked with 10 former first rounders out of the
Yeah,
11
that's right.
starting. Defense sucks, but we're not going to worry about that. The Panthers, don't even worry about it. Saints.
Oh, come
The
on.
Saints are a phenomenal team, both defensively and offensively.
Offensively, defensively, they're okay.
Their defense is all right. And then now you got Tampa. Can Tampa take on the Saints and beat them and be NFC South champs?
It's on Bruce Arians. I'm not saying he's going to pull the Browns and Freddie Kitchens, but when you have that much talent, any half-ass coach can get 10 wins
Yep.
with just the roster he has right now before the draft. They get one or two more pretty solid players out of the draft that develop and they're in the rotation, preferably defensive backs. All he's got to do is not mess up. I mean, that's simple as that. And they're the best team in the NFC. He has to not blow it. If they fail this year, if they only get, if they're a 500 team, if they can't make the playoffs, if they can't make the Super Bowl, they have failed. Bruce Arians has failed epically because the talent is ridiculous.
I don't think
I'm not
Bruce
saying he
Arians is gonna
will,
fail.
because he did more. He did a lot with the Cardinals, and let's be honest, they
didn't
had
have that
one or
much.
two handfuls of good players, and that's about it. So
Well, Bruce Arians, he didn't. I mean, the Buccaneers were pretty successful last year. They could have won. They could have
they
probably
could've made
had over
playoffs.
10 wins
Yeah,
if it wasn't for Jameis Winston and his seeing of the wrong color jerseys. But
yeah.
I mean, he didn't even have to touch the defense. He's not a defensive coach. He didn't even have to touch it, and he didn't the whole entire season. He's kind of like a Sean Payton, honestly, or Andy Reid. Doesn't even care about the defense. The defense does what it does.
Yeah.
Todd Bowles made it a good defense with play calling and everything in general. But his offense, he is a offensive-minded coach. He is great at it. He is a Sean Payton. He is an Andy Reid. He is an offensive guru. I
Yeah.
think they will be successful this year, and he will kill it as this year. I mean, honestly, I think they're going to win the NFC South, and it's going to be a very difficult task for teams, especially defensive coordinators, on trying to stop Gronk, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, a running back, whoever it's going to be, and now fucking Tom Brady.
Do they need a running back? Ronald Jones is pretty good. They need
He is.
offensive line. I think
They do. They
He's a
do need
dual threat
offensive
running
line.
back. I mean, that's
Well, you know what? Talking about needs, let's go ahead and get into the needs. So we're going to go from the top to the bottom. Let me go ahead and look at some comments first. Social distancing is key. Boom. Social distancing.
right.
Perfect. Dave Holman, they will play each other in the fucking Super Bowl. Probably.
That'd be
I don't know about the Pats. The Pats, if you're talking about the Pats
pretty cool.
and the Buccaneers, I'm sorry, I don't see y'all making the Super Bowl.
It's all right. You don't have to see. I can see for you.
With Jarrett Stidham, I don't
Close
think
your
so.
eyes. You'll be all right.
Alvin Kamara, Drew Brees, Emmanuel Sanders, Michael Thomas, and the guy who plays all positions. Top 3 team. So, yes, Alvin Kamara, and you're talking about Taysom Hill. I do see the Saints being a good team. However, if you look at them compared to the Buccaneers now, and especially if the Buccaneers bolster their defensive backs, you can't stop the Buccaneers. I don't see it.
They'll have to be a pretty major injury. Like someone's gonna have to go down. Let's hope not. That's football. Someone have to go down.
Yep.
Or like I said, Bruce Arians will have to really screw the pooch because there's so much talent. It's not a knock to the Saints though. The Saints are a good team,
right?
But the Bucs on paper are the best team probably in football on paper. Right. Maybe behind the Chiefs or
right there at them.
I mean, that's just how it is.
And honestly, I think Tampa's defense last year was better than the Saints, and I think it's going to only get better. And the Saints, I'm pretty sure, is getting worse. I think they just lost A.J. Klein and a defensive tackle, if I'm not mistaken. But I think Tampa's got it in the bag, honestly. You don't even need the draft to see that Tampa Bay is going to win the NFC South, period, the end. Moving on, we got team needs. We're going to go through every single team in the NFL and pick out what positions they need to fulfill this draft. So starting off the top, it's a pretty easy one. Cincinnati Bengals.
Cincinnati Bengals. I put 3 needs for each team. I'll just say the first 1 or 2. They need a quarterback, obviost,ly
I wonder who they're going to get.
Pretty much already know who it's going to be. We'll talk about that later, and we'll see what happens later. But past that, I think you're going to quarterback. Let's be honest. They don't have an offensive line. I couldn't name you a single offensive lineman on the Bengals. So they need to draft one of the highest-ranked offensive tackles in the game. We'll talk about him later. And then if we're going to go defense, honestly, defense they are not too bad at. They had a lot of competitive games last year because their defense was pretty damn good. So I would say if we had to jump to the defense side of the ball, they do need defensive backs. Geno Atkins can hold it down up front, but any defensive back would help them a lot.
I completely agree. Quarterback, Joe Burrow. He's getting taken number 1. If he doesn't, I'm pretty sure the world's going to get destroyed. It's like that's going to happen, period, the end. So quarterback is the number 1 need, and Joe Burrow is going to be that franchise guy, period, the end. And we'll get more into talking players in a little bit. Second, offensive lineman. I'm pretty sure Andrew Whitworth, their offense tackle for many years, just now left. So a lot of people have them taking a tackle in the second round. I think they need to address the offensive line. They have plenty of weapons. You have Joe Mixon. You have Tyler Boyd. They still got A.J. Green.
Yeah.
They have Tyler Eifert, I'm pretty sure, still.
They do.
And their offense is good.
They need a quarterback.
They were missing a quarterback, and now they need an offensive line, which they're probably going to solidify both of those needs this draft. Second one, offensive line. Oh, we already went through offensive line. Then the third need, linebackers and cornerbacks. Their defense is non-existent. They got Carlos Dunlap and Geno Atkins on the defensive line, and I think they still have Dre Kirkpatrick as a DB. They need another corner to complement him, and they need a full fucking linebacker squad because they don't have any. I don't think
I'll give you the linebacker. I didn't think about the linebacker. I have no idea who they have.
Not one.
Middle or outside, I couldn't tell you.
Not one that's worth a shit. Not going to lie.
Yeah.
So Bengals, they will need to address those positions in this draft, and they will for at least one of them. Redskins. Moving on to the Redskins. Who do you got for the needs of the Redskins?
For the needs of the Redskins, I still think they need a quarterback. I'm sorry.
Wow.
Putting their faith in Haskins is not the way to go. Who did they sign? Case Keenum?
They did sign Case Keenum as a backup.
Geez.
Yeah.
Oh, they're good now. No, they still need a quarterback. Okay, they got to get a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
I'll talk about why they won't, but they need a quarterback. Secondary need, they need a cornerback because their defense essentially is non-existent anymore. I think their front seven's good. I really do. I think their front seven's solid. They still got Kerrigan, and Sweat is honestly going to be an all-pro player. arguably the rest
He will
of us,
be.
but we can see it this year.
Yeah,
He
will
was
be.
injured. If he's healthy, he's going to be an all-pro player consistently every year. And then naturally, like most things, if you need a quarterback, you're on a team like the Redskins, you need a decent offensive line. We already know the issue with Trent Williams. He somehow is still floating. I mean, they could keep him. They could sign him, but for right now, he's not going to be a Redskin.
Right.
So those are my needs. They won't draft him. I think they're taking Chase Young just because that's all I've heard is Chase Young's going to the Redskins. Ron Rivera's all but said it. So I don't think they need Chase Young because I know he's a great athlete and a great player, but they need a quarterback first, and they need to fix up their defensive back to replace Josh Norman.
I'm going to disagree with you, honestly. I think they can give Dwayne Haskins another year. All right. We know he didn't really perform that well this past year, but he didn't really play as much either. And what did he have to throw to? What was his offense? It was a run offense. They have Bryce Love. They have Adrian Peterson.
Terry McLaughlin came
McLaughlin.
He's one of the best.
And who else?
What else do you need?
No. You need some more receivers. I'm sorry. You need a tight end that's worth a shit because Jordan Reed, I'm sorry, he gets hurt every fucking down. You have one receiver, and you don't have an offensive line. You have Brandon Sheriff and then Trent Williams when he's healthy, which is one game of the season.
Or when he's going to not complain about his contract.
Right. So I think give Dwayne Haskins another year. All right. Let him develop. Solidify your offensive line this draft. Chase Young, I mean, they don't really need him because their defense is already pretty solid, but, I mean, you're not going to pass up on him, so I get it. And if you want to trade a defensive end because you have Chase Young, then do it. Trade bait. Tight end and receivers. They need to give Dwayne Haskins some more weapons. And say Dwayne Haskins doesn't do well. Say he just falls apart this season and he's not a franchise quarterback. Tank for Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence.
That's a long rebuild.
It's a 1-year rebuild because all they need is a quarterback.
Why can't you just
after this
pick
year
up Tua? I mean, there's a couple of great quarterbacks that can go right in and be successful. I mean,
I understand that, but still,
why is Trevor Lawrence so special compared to Tua?
Why waste time on Dwayne? I mean, you drafted Dwayne Haskins in the first round
for competition
and already gone.
If Bill Belichick takes a quarterback in this draft, it's like, oh, we'll give Stidham a chance. No, it's for competition. Whoever,
You're wasting a first-round pick.
No, you're not.
Yeah, you are. Because what if Dwayne Haskins is better than Tua? He's going to ride the fucking bench. You put him on the bench, a first-round pick.
You made Dwayne Haskins better because that's competition. You draft the quarterback, he's going, oh, damn, now I gotta start playing well. And if he doesn't play well,
Case Keenum's a solid backup. I don't see him starting. I wouldn't put him as a starter, but he's a solid backup.
He's known for one single throw in his life, and it was probably the worst defensive play I've ever seen against the Saints on the That's it on the Miracle in Minneapolis. That's all it is.
Good job, Vikings. Good job, Vikings.
But that guy, he's a backup. He's Nick Foles. He's a backup getting paid all this money and getting these 3-year contracts. He's just Nick Foles.
I mean, I understand that. But I feel it's bad just to waste a first-round pick, honestly. Get Chase Young.
Be a waste.
Good job. Get Chase Young. That's fine. And give Dwayne Haskins a chance. If it doesn't work out, you have Trevor Lawrence next draft because you're not going to be good without a quarterback. I'm sorry.
All right.
You saw it with the Panthers this year. So, all right, moving on to the third team, the Detroit Lions. Who do you think the Detroit Lions need to get?
I'm going all defense here because their offense, honestly, is pretty sweet looking on paper so long as Matthew Stafford's healthy, and they are good. Receiving core is good. Hawkinson's a great tight end.
He is. He's
offensive
amazing.
line's not bad really at all. Stafford's just injury prone. He just stay healthy. They'll be okay.
Right.
Defensively, yikes, they are awful. I'm going to go, and you're not going to like this, linebacker for number one need because I couldn't tell you who they have at linebacker.
They don't have any.
They need a cornerback because they lost their number one, who was one of the better in the league, Darius Slay. He's gone. They got to replace him. And defensive front, all they have is Trey Flowers, who's solid, but that's one guy, and he's one edge rusher. That doesn't do anything if he's going to get double teamed every play, and the guys in the middle can't take the pressure off of him. So they also need a defensive lineman. I haven't taken a linebacker in the draft. We'll talk about him later. You don't you won't like who I have.
For the Lions,
Yeah.
I have defense as well for the first two, and then their third one. Let's go ahead and start off with the third offensive line. Poor Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford's a great quarterback. He's got good weapons. He's got some good running backs. He's got a damn good tight end, as you just said, and he has not one fucking soul to protect him hardly. That poor motherfucker is running every damn where, running for his life. And with the Lions organization, I've heard they are assholes. I don't know. I won't get into all that, but I'm sorry, you need to protect your franchise quarterback. You have him for – he's already pretty damn old. Not old, but he's, what, 32, 33? Maybe?
Yeah, I mean, he's
getting up
young
there.
30s, yeah.
He's getting up there in age. It's about time that y'all make a move and protect him and try to get a winning franchise going for the time being that he's going to be there. I mean, so – offensive line, and I also want some defensive alignment, as you just said, and some corners. They just traded their best corner in Darius Slay to the Eagles. Pretty sure, correct?
They did?
Yep.
Big contract.
So that was their only cornerback that was worth anything. And their defensive line, as you just said, they have nobody but Trey Flowers. So defense in general needs some work, and their offensive line, I need them to help Matthew Stafford because I like Stafford. Poor guy. I really do.
He's good.
He is.
He's really good.
He should have beat the Packers twice last year, but it's whatever. So moving on to our number 4 team is the New York Giants. They already got a franchise quarterback and they got a franchise running back. What do you think they need?
I didn't put it in my top 3, but now I think about it, they could probably use at least one more offensive guard. They run off tackles so much because their tackles are their best linemen. They could use one more offensive guard. Problem is there's not really any offensive guards first round worthy that early for the 4th pick. So I went with all defense. They need a defensive line. They need a cornerback and a safety. So we'll just say D-line and defensive back. And the highest ranked cornerback is Jeff Okudah from Ohio State.
Mm-hmm. If
they don't take him with their 4th pick, I don't know what they're doing. I really don't. They're probably gonna go after.
Available.
He'll be available. He'll be available.
Okay.
Just stop it. The Lions aren't taking him.
You're giving away your mock draft. That's for 7 o'clock.
I'm just saying. He'll be available. But they need a defensive lineman, a cornerback, and a safety because, honestly, their defensive line is
atrocious.
It's been atrocious.
Non-existent.
For the last, we'll call it, I mean, you could say decades since they won the last Super Bowl.
They run a 3.
No one.
They run a 3-4, 3 linebackers, 4 DBs.
That's it. Tomlinson guy for a year or so, and he jetted. He was out. So that's all they've had. Cornerbacks, Eli Apple was a huge failure. Didn't they get
James Bradbury.
James Bradbury.
Yep.
Solid pickup, and he's probably going to be their number 1 guy, but he needs a complimentary guy. They need a slot cornerback, someone that's really fast or athletic, someone that cover the outside, while James Bradbury covers the number 1. And along with that, you need a safety. I'm sorry, I don't even know who they have right now.
They got rid of Landon Collins, and it was over for them. So I agree with you. I do think they need offensive linemen in general. You have a franchise quarterback, a franchise running back. Please, for the love of God, protect them both because Daniel Jones has potential to be very good, and Saquon Barkley is already phenomenal in every aspect at running back. So need some linemen to protect them. They also need defensive line. As you just said, they don't have not one pass rusher on that whole entire defense, basically, or on the defensive line. Their linebackers, they got Blake Martinez. That's going to help out a lot. And they also picked up another linebacker, forgot his name. And they got James Bradbury. So I think they need defensive linemen because basically they run a 3-4 defense right now, being 3 linebackers, 4 defensive backs, and they only run 7 players on defense because they're 4 offensive linemen. They don't have any. And then they need a safety because since they lost Landon Collins, they don't have one that's worth anything. So moving on to the Dolphins. Canyon is here to join us. Canyon, we have the Dolphins. Who do they need to pick up in this draft? What are their 3 team needs they need to get in this draft?
A head coach.
A head coach? Yeah. Okay.
I mean, obviously, the big need here is quarterback. They have Ryan Fitzpatrick, who will be very serviceable for about a year. Because I mean, honestly, he's a very talented quarterback, but he's like the perfect candidate to mentor a young quarterback. So I really think they would be really dumb to not select a quarterback in the first round. Obviously, good for them though. They own this draft. They have 14 picks, and they have 3 picks in the first round.
Yep, something like that.
Yeah.
They also have 6? Don't they have 6 picks in the top 100, I believe, or something?
Right.
It's something ridiculous. And so I would say, quarterback's definitely at the top of that list. Seen a lot of talk. Apparently, they tried to trade up to the number 1 pick, but the Bengals said no. But besides that, they need some offensive linemen because they traded away Laramie Tunsil, Mr. Gas Mask himself, to the Texans. They're actually not horrible at receiver right now, and they probably need they need more they don't. Okay, I'm gonna say they need a defense except for their number 1 corner, obviously, because they have Byron Jones now, and they actually upgrade a little bit, to be completely honest. But I would say just any key defensive player that can come in and have an immediate impact. I'm not even gonna really put a position on it, honestly, except for maybe I wouldn't go corner just because you already have Byron Jones out there.
Right.
But literally any defensive player that would come in and could make an immediate impact. Because let's be honest, probably all 3 of their first rounders and probably the 3 additional picks in the top 100, if I did get that 6 number correct, are probably all going to start because their team sucks. So
very true.
you're going to need to have at least you're going to need that quarterback, an offensive lineman. You're going to need at least 1 or 2 defensive guys that come in and just kind of steal the show, which, like I said, won't be tough because they don't have to really compete for playing time, to be completely honest. But they just need key defensive impact players. Edge rushers would be cool because those, obviously, we've seen that they have pretty big impact on games now, especially to highlight about how much they get paid now.
Big time passing league.
Yeah.
All right, Nick, what is your 3 team needs the Dolphins need?
Dolphins need a quarterback. Sorry, Ryan Fitzpatrick is a phenomenal backup quarterback who's probably played about 5 or 6 straight games, 400 yards, 5 touchdowns at a time, and then shit hits the fan. Although occasionally he loves to beat the Patriots for some reason. I don't know why, but he does. But he's not a starting quarterback. They need an actual future quarterback. Arguably the best quarterback in the drafts is going to get taken by the Dolphins, and we'll talk about him later. Their second need is a wide receiver to throw to. Who do they have? Devontae Parker?
Devontae Parker.
I think P.J. Williams is pretty good too.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know who P.J. Williams is, but if you play daily fantasy, you know who P.J. Williams is, and he's a pretty good player.
He is an average Joe. He sounds like some random, the 4th string guy from the Patriots or something.
So what you're saying is they need another star receiver.
Well, they need another dual. Look, Parker's fast. Okay, so the quarterback can throw down the field. You get some yards with him. They need another quick guy that can get first downs. There's no productive offense unless you're the Chiefs and you have 4 or 5 players that can just run as fast as they can down the field every other play, and you got a big play. They need someone like a slot receiver.
Okay.
That's what they need. And then I have no defensive needs from them, by the way. They had a great free agency on defense, on linebacker, D-line, defensive backs. They look good there. And then naturally, you get a quarterback, get a receiver. You need someone that can block for both of them. So they need an offensive line. It's honestly not the worst offensive line in the league, but it certainly isn't the best. I think there's a couple offensive tackles in the draft they can snag too, if they feel they need it that early. So
we'll make it short and to the point. They need a QB because they don't have one. Ryan Fitzpatrick can mentor this young quarterback because Ryan Fitzpatrick is a fucking baller. He's the man. He is one of the best backup quarterbacks in the league. Second, they're gonna pick a quarterback in the first round. Period. The end. So they need some offensive linemen to help protect that quarterback. Period. The end. Because they don't have any. And then third need, I think they need a running back. They don't have a solid running back that is consistent. They got rid of Kenyon Drake to the Cardinals last year because they didn't really need him, honestly. They knew they were going to tank, and they did a damn good job of it. Brian Flores, I mean, he won a couple games. He won a couple games, and I'm surprised he actually won them. So
what a job.
Congrats to Brian Flores. But yes, they need a quarterback, offensive line, and running back. Those are my 3 needs for the Dolphins. Moving on, we got the Chargers. Nick, who do you got for the Chargers?
Chargers need a quarterback. Philip Rivers is gone. You need someone to throw to with all those targets they have. They need an offensive line restructured. I know they got your boy Trey Turner now.
Yeah, they did.
In a trade, but they lost their best. What was their best offensive lineman? I think the more important lineman, offensive tackle. So they need to replace him. Other than that, their offense looks good. They just need someone to block and to throw to those amazing receivers and tight end. Defensively, their front seven is really good still. I know Bosa's contract's coming up, but right this next year, they look great. I honestly don't think they really need a safety because of James, but they could use a number 1 cornerback. I don't think I like any of the number 1s they have right now playing cornerback.
Okay. Cannon? All right.
They broke out. Did you ask me something?
All right, I'll go. So the Chargers, they need a quarterback, and I have them taking another quarterback in this draft. I know they said that Tyrod Taylor is going to be their man for this year, but I think this quarterback that they draft will sit a year behind Tyrod Taylor, learn the strings, do all that great stuff that quarterbacks do. I preferably, if you draft a quarterback first round, you should fucking start him, but that's whatever. And then offensive tackle, they need some linemen. They just lost, like you just said, Russell Okung to the Panthers. They don't have any offensive tackle or a left tackle, so they need another left tackle to help protect their future star quarterback. And then they need some linebackers. Their defense was already pretty solid last year. It wasn't too bad, but they don't really have any star linebackers or linebackers that stick out. They need to solidify that 3-4 defense they got and get some linebackers. What do you think, Kenny?
Yeah, I kind of agree with everything being said. So obviously, I would say specifically on that offensive line, they need a left tackle because obviously, Trey Turner, and they also signed Brian Bulaga from the Green Bay Packers, and he is definitely more of a right tackle. Or I think they kind of already have alluded to the fact that he's going to play right tackle. So you're going to kind of look at it's really difficult because I've heard that they're dead set on a quarterback because it's like a perfect position for them to take a quarterback because honestly that's kind of the missing piece of their team. Honestly, they were a really very good team
on paper,
but also it would be very enticing for them to pick one of those top 4 offensive tackles like Wills, Becton, Worse, and Thomas. Either of those guys would all be great. But try and find the one that you think that fits at left tackle the most. I know all of them don't. They actually didn't play left tackle in college. I think two of them might have played right tackle, but they all have traits to possibly be able to play over the left side. So you're going to want to look at those guys at that number 6 pick, along with those quarterbacks. They definitely need a quarterback really bad. The best scheme fit would be Tua because their head coach really likes those kind of mobile-ish quarterbacks. Not someone who's like a Lamar Jackson who's just going to run constantly and also excel in passing. But Tua would be perfect because he has this amazing accuracy, this amazing arm, and he's also able to scramble a little bit. So it's a perfect scheme fit. But obviously, Herbert is a safer option just because of the injury stuff. But definitely looking there, and linebackers a big need too. So they're honestly a very, very big question mark because there's obviously at those 3 positions, those are definitely some people that are worth taking at that 6th pick overall with linebacker, left tackle, and quarterback.
Yeah.
Obviously the linebacker being Isaiah Simmons, but I think the biggest need here would be quarterback because why wouldn't you just get a quarterback right now?
Very true. All right. Yep. Well put. So we're going to have to go through these a little quicker because we got to do our mock draft at 7. So if your team hasn't been called yet, I'm sorry, but we're going to have to speed it up a little bit. So Panthers. Canyon, who do you got the Panthers need in the top 3 needs?
They just need defense. Let's literally just put that out there. They just need an entire defense except for they can afford to not draft a linebacker. However, if Simmons is there, I don't know how you don't, because he's just a freak. Like, and he could be a huge game changer, especially with Shaq next to him. So like that's my exception in the first round. With the linebackers, if we can take Simmons, I'm very happy with that. That's what I want them to take. But if not, I would say their biggest needs would definitely be that interior defensive line position. You hear guys like Kinlaw and Brown, and also later on in the draft, because Teddy Bridgewater's contract's it's a 3-year contract, but it's kind of a 2-year in disguise almost.
Mm-hmm.
Later on in the draft, I wouldn't be shocked to see them take a quarterback to just kind of throw a dart and see what happens, or like a day 2 guy maybe. But yeah, any defensive position would be very nice.
All right. What do you think, Nick?
Basically the same thing. Any defensive position, specifically defensive line, nose guard, and cornerback. You still need a number 1. Well, I say Dante Jackson's probably number 2 cornerback. Still need a number 1 cornerback and another 1 defensive line. And they need to replace on the offensive side of the ball Trey Turner at guard because he's one of the league's best guards last year. Again, they need to replace him. So D-line, O-line, defensive back, specifically cornerback, should be the 3 only things they should be concerned about. Everything else, you guys overreact too much. It's not that bad.
I agree. I think D-line is a big need. Also, linebacker would be a nice little need too, just because if we did draft Isaiah Simmons, I would be ecstatic just because he can play every defensive position you need him to. So, yeah. And then also, defensive line, corner, because we only have 1, and then defensive end.
Yeah.
So defensive tackle, defensive end.
Cornell, what are you talking about, dude?
Right. Anyway, moving on. So, next team, we got the Cardinals. Who do you think the Cardinals need to get in it? Or team needs?
Team needs for the Cardinals. They have an amazing, young, talented quarterback. They finally have a couple of great receivers now. Some very young, one of the best in the league, probably behind Julio Jones with Hopkins. They need someone to block for the quarterback. They had a terrible offensive line last year. I'll say this. Their run game was okay, but they still need offensive line to protect their quarterback. That should be the number 1 need. The other 2 are all defensive. They need a defensive back, and they need a defensive front. Chandler Jones is labeled an outside linebacker, but let's be honest, he's a defensive end, and he does phenomenal with no help at all. You give this guy someone in the middle that can eat up a couple blockers, he'll get one-on-ones way too much, and they'll look even that much better. So offensive lineman, defensive back.
All right, Canyon?
Yeah, I agree with this. I think, especially with their first pick, it'll be a crime if they don't go offensive lineman.
Yeah.
Just because of the reasons that Nick. I mean, they have there's no need to get a receiver in the first round. Later on, I would say yes, just because of how deep this receiver class is, and you can go ahead and just capitalize on that in like a day 2 pick.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they absolutely need to block for their new franchise quarterback, as well as, they got a new running back too, who's phenomenal running back. Kind of a similar situation that the Giants are in, on that sense. They have the quarterback, they have the running back. The Cardinals more so than the Giants have the receivers. But yeah, I'd definitely say secondary, offensive tackle needs to be the first thing addressed, and then later on in the draft, I'd say wide receivers still need, just because Larry Legend's getting up there in age. So don't get a first rounder, but definitely take advantage of how deep this wide receiver draft class is and get one later.
Okay. I'm thinking offensive line all the way. If they don't draft a tackle in the first round, I give up on Cliff Kingsbury and that organization. Honestly,
he's not the GM, Hunter.
I've already given up on him in general.
Break. He's not.
He's not Bill O'Brien.
So we got offensive lineman and then also defensive end / defensive lineman, whatever. I don't know if they have another pass rusher that's worth anything besides Chandler Jones. Chandler Jones is doing it all himself. He got 13 sacks last year. He's doing it all himself. They need another player to go on the opposite side of him. To get another pass rusher, get another edge rusher in there. I know they run a 3-4. Get another outside linebacker or an edge rusher in general. And also some corner help. Patrick Peterson, he's getting up there. He's not old, but he's starting to lose his speed, lose his touch. I'd also get either his replacement or a corner that can go beside him and shut down.
Yeah.
So moving on to the Jaguars. Who do you think the Jaguars need, Nick?
Let's see. Quarterback, offensive line, receiver, defensive line, defensive back, kicker, special teams, coach, GM, owner. They need a lot of things, Hunter. If I had to narrow it down to just 3, I'd say you start off by replacing the defense that you just literally handed away to the Ravens and some other teams because you can't afford them. And they're about to trade Yannick Ngakoue or whatever it is because he hates it there. So they need to replace the D-line. They need to replace their cornerbacks. And I think Gardner Minshew is the guy they're going to look to for a few years, see if he can develop and, stay a good playmaker that he is. Get him some receivers to throw to.
Right.
I don't think the offensive line is probably actually that bad.
It's not.
Solid. They're solid in the run game anyway. So give him a receiver to throw to. And because Patriots just took Marquise Lee off their hands today, so they definitely need one. And then the whole defense, with the exception of linebackers, they have no D lineman that's worth a damn anymore. And the cornerback there was only Boye. That was about it. So they need to replace their defensive front and their defensive backs, which is not an easy task.
What do you think, Nick or Kenyon?
So I would say definitely literally a whole defense again, just because of that whole operation is completely blowing up with the front office and how they were treating players apparently. I would definitely put quarterback at a need.
You don't like Minshew Magic? You don't like Minshew Magic?
Dude, Minshew. Okay, so
Minshew
I'm gonna say this,
man.
and obviously, I have a general idea of what I'm talking about, but not as much as other people. Gardner Minshew is Jeremy Lin. Gardner Minshew is Tim Tebow. Gardner Minshew is he's a cool thing to have for a little bit. But I just don't think that he will ever be quite there. He'll be serviceable. We'll say that he'll be a serviceable quarterback, but I don't think he's definitely a long-term answer. But you can make an argument. I would say I'd wait on a quarterback and not draft him in the first round. I'd definitely take one day 2, day 3, just to try it out, just to see what happens. Like how they did with Gardner Minshew last year, even though they had Nick Foles. Just why not? But unless if you want to get into the conversation Tua falls, then that's a different that's a conversation for later.
Tua
but
falls.
that's just putting that out there. But yeah, they definitely probably would need another edge rusher to go across from Josh Allen because they're probably going to trade the other one, even though apparently trade talks have been kind of falling through a little bit with him. But yeah, just defense. Leonard Fournette is not happy there, so maybe draft a running back later on in the draft. Wide receiver for sure.
Definitely see that.
Should be something, even though that D.D. Westbrook and D.J. Chark are actually pretty good wide receivers. They're on the brink of kind of having a number one receiver, but they're not quite there. So I would not be shocked to see them just say, screw it, let's go get Jerry Jeudy or CeeDee Lamb, or a true guy, a true number one receiver. But yeah, I would say a whole ass team is their need.
All right. I'm going to just stick to whole defense. All right. Running a little low on time. Got 15 minutes to wrap up, 20 other fucking teams? So let's go for the Browns. 3 needs. Who do you got, Nick?
O-line, D-line, defensive backs.
What do you got, Canyon?
O-line, D-line, and they definitely need some freaking linebackers for sure. 100% need linebackers very badly there.
I completely agree. I'm going to go O-line, protect Baker Mayfield. Need a safety because they don't have fucking not one. And then linebackers because you just said it all. Going for the Browns, we got the Bucks. Nick?
The Bucks.
Besides, they don't fucking need much now.
Going from the Browns to the Bucks, they need offensive line to protect Tom Brady. Just 1 or 2 more decent ones to make sure the 43-year-old doesn't die. We already talked about it. Defensive backs, cornerbacks, and safeties. They essentially have no good ones. Need to get a couple in the draft.
All right, Kenny.
Yeah, I'd definitely say O-line's a huge need, and this is going to sound goofy just because they have so many playmakers, but whether it be on the offense or defense side of the ball, just get them another playmaker. That's all they need, and they're honestly probably over the hump already, but just get playmakers in front of Tom Brady, go all in on these next 2 years.
I don't think they need any, but
I don't either. All right, for the Buccaneers, offensive line to protect the 43-year-old quarterback, the Hall of Famer, the GOAT himself, Tom Brady.
say it.
They need a running back, and also they need corners. They don't have any corners. They get rid of Vernon Hargraves, a former first-round pick, just because he went lackadaisy on a fucking route. So they need corners, a running back, and some linemen. Going to the Raiders, Nick. Who do the Raiders need?
Raiders, they need another decent wide receiver for one of the most underrated quarterbacks in the league to throw to, Derek Carr. With that, offensive line, they paid way too much money for Trent Brown. I know he's big, but my God, he's sword and death on crutches. They need to get another offensive lineman. Defensively, not too bad, really. I think they need another linebacker. I thought Burfict was actually doing pretty well for them before his targeting mishaps, because that happens every other game. So a linebacker defensively for me.
All right, Kane.
I think that'd be silly to not go wide receiver in the first round here, unless there's maybe CJ Henderson at corner. So I definitely say wide receiver and corner. Huge needs there. I would also say get Derek Carr some help in a sense of he needs help not being the starting quarterback. Because
Damn.
They're not confident in there. John Gruden wants to pick his own quarterback, and that's why they brought in Marcus Mariota, because they're not confident in Derek Carr. He's good. I just think that John Gruden wants his guy, and Derek Carr is not his guy.
All right. For the Raiders, I think wide receivers their number one need because they have Tyrell Williams, who is about old as shit. They got Zay Jones, who's promising. They need another receiver, preferably a slot guy. Corner, they don't have any corners, not one. And then defensive line, teams ran the ball through that defensive line easier than shit. Not the Panthers' extent, but very close. So they need defensive line, corner, and receiver. Going to the Jets. Who do the Jets need, Nick?
The Jets need a whole fucking team, but we'll start by clearing up they do. They're a terrible team on paper. They need an offensive line to protect their young quarterback. They need a defensive line to get any pressure. I know they got Williams last year, but they need a defensive line that can rush the passer. They have a couple of big guys to stop the run. They need a pass rusher. They do not have one, in my opinion. Linebacker, they need one of those as well. They're honestly, I could say, they need defensive backs that are worth the damn. They need more receiver. Well, at least one more star receiver for him to throw at, maybe a tight end. They have a lot of needs. I'll narrow it down to O-line, D-line, and linebacker.
All right, Kane?
I think they're goofy if they don't go wide receiver in the first round. They had Robbie Anderson as their number one, and they no longer have Robbie Anderson as number one. And Sam Darnold, even though last year he was seeing ghosts a little bit, he needs a freaking wide receiver more than anyone in the NFL right now. He absolutely needs a wide receiver. And then on the defensive side of the ball, they definitely need to go corner, and they need someone to get after the quarterback as well.
All right. Robbie Anderson getting taken away in free agency. They need a number one receiver. They don't have one. Defensive end to get after the quarterback because they don't have any defense in general. But especially the pass rush, they need some defensive end and some offensive linemen. It's preferably a tackle. Sam Darnold.
Quick note. They have C.J. Mosley at linebacker. He didn't play at all last year because he was hurt. And they're probably still going to hold on to Jamal Adams, even though he's going to hold out all virtual offseason stuff, supposedly. So they had pieces there.
They have pieces. They just need to put it together.
They need something.
Exactly. And also just offensive tackle. You need to protect Sam Darnold. Poor guy. He's seeing ghosts, like you just said. He needs some fucking help. All right. You got the Colts. Who do the Colts need, Nick?
The Colts.
What do the Colts need?
Goodness, we're jumping all around there, aren't we? The Colts. The Colts need offensive line. For passing reasons only. I don't know if that's the first need, but their run game is great. They don't have there's a reason Andrew Luck doesn't play football anymore. I know the last 2 years I know everyone loves the guard. Everyone loves Quentin Nelson.
He's a man.
They've gotten better, but their run game is great. And if they're going to go power run, don't worry about the offensive line. But they need someone to protect the quarterback in the passing game. It's just numbers wise, they didn't have very good ratings, even with Brissett, who's considered kind of mobile. He still had bad ratings. He had to roll out often. Maybe that's just me. It probably is. They need a pass blocking, like offensive tackle to protect the quarterback in the pass game, unless they're going to be run heavy. Other than that, on paper, what else do they need? That may be another receiver for Phillip Rivers to launch it down the field and close his eyes like he always does.
They still have Funches?
They have Devin Funches. They still have T.Y. Hilton.
He's in Green Bay.
He's in Green Bay. That's right. Yeah. So
makes the point even more valid.
They have one.
And honestly, defensively, they look great. I don't know. The only thing I think of was another star defensive nose guard. That's about it. I love the linebacker core, and the defensive backs are completely underrated. Their QBRs against last year were like top 5. So they're honestly not that bad overall on paper. They don't need a whole lot of anything. If I had to be picky, I'd go with that left tackle.
All right. Canyon?
Just give Phillip Rivers a weapon. Might not be a bad time to look into a quarterback, especially in this draft, even though next draft might actually have some very good quarterbacks as well. But I would definitely say wide receiver above all else. They need they picked a great draft to not have a first round pick in, because this draft is deep with receivers and defensive players. I would just give me another defensive playmaker. But I mean, it's just receivers the biggest one by far.
I agree. Receivers a big need. They only have T.Y. Hilton. They need a receiver. Linebacker, I'm also going linebacker and safety. They don't really need a lot of help, as you said, Nick, on the defensive side of the ball, but they need some playmakers on the defense. But other than that, I mean, they're pretty solid. Honestly, I told y'all that it was my dynasty team before Andrew Luck left. I still think they're really good. They just need a quarterback. Phillip Rivers is going to be good this 1 year, and then after that, they need to look at their franchise guy.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
So they are solid for this draft. Let's go over to the Broncos, Nick.
Broncos, number 1, they need a quarterback. They currently
Really?
No, they don't. Drew Lock's great.
Drew Lock's all right. He might be their franchise.
Drew Lock and Haskins crap.
All right, we got to go.
They need a quarterback.
Okay.
And they need an offensive line.
Okay.
I like their defense. It's still good. So that's about it.
All right, Canyon?
They need to replace Chris Harris Jr. That's a huge thing that they need to do, because he was a big part of that defense.
Yeah.
So they definitely need some defensive backfield help for sure. Kind of more definitely in that spot where he used to play in. Obviously, they have those 2 terrifying monsters off the edge. On defense, being Miller and Bradley Chubb. But give that good quarterback. And yes, I'm going to say good quarterback, and he will become a very good NFL quarterback. Drew Lock. Give him another receiver. Cortland Sutton's a big old boy that can go jump up in the air and grab some balls. Get him a slot receiver. Get him someone who can just take the top off the defense. Give me Ruggs. That's all I have to say.
They need a receiver. You just said Cortland Sutton. That's their only receiver. They need a good number 2 to follow with Cortland Sutton. I think they're good on quarterback. Give Drew Lock another year. We'll see what happens. They need offensive line to protect their franchise quarterback and franchise running back in Phillip Lindsay. They have some solid pieces. They just need to build it. I mean, so get some offensive line to protect them. And then you just said cornerback to replace Chris Harris Jr. Completely agree. They need some cornerbacks. And plus, I mean, what's the good of a defensive line if their receivers are getting open in like 2 fucking seconds before your defensive line can get to the opposing quarterback? So get some corners to lock down those receivers. Going to the Falcons, Nick. What do the Falcons need?
A defense, period. Defensive line, defensive backs. I actually don't need linebackers. Defensive line, defensive backs. Offensive line looks solid. I do think they need to replace the tight end. Austin Hooper's arguably one of the best tight ends in football. Replace tight end. They're good offensively, and then they need a defensive line and some defensive backs.
All right, Canyon?
Yeah, I'd definitely said defense. I mean, they got like the freaking first 10 first rounders on the offense or whatever, and honestly, a lot of them are pretty freaking good. Their offense is scary. The only person in the world that would be able to hold their offense back is Matt Ryan.
Yep.
But their defense definitely needs some help. They lost Vic Beasley, right? Like they need an edge guy for sure. They need a corner really bad. I mean, that's why they're looking to trade up and try and get C.J. Henderson, lock him down. Interior defensive line. They're okay at the linebacker spot, like Nick said. They're pretty decent linebacker spot, but they need everything else on the defense. That's kind of their only needs. Just a defense.
All right, I agree. Just defense. To wrap up this segment, we're just going to give our top 3 needs. No explanation. We got to get to our mock draft. Steelers. Who do you got, Nick?
Steelers offensive line, quarterback.
All right, Canyon.
O-line and D-line, interior specifically.
I got safety, D-line, and quarterback replacing fucking Ben Roethlisberger. Go on to the Cowboys. Nick, who you got for the Cowboys?
Cowboys, defensive back, defensive line.
All right, Canyon.
Edge, and definitely a corner to replace Byron Jones and the freaking safe. They need a defense outside, except for their linebackers, and they need to who was it? Frederick that left, right?
Yeah, center.
They need to replace the spot. That's what they need. They need a defense except for linebackers, and they need to replace that guard spot.
I'm gonna go with you, edge, corner, and center. Bears. Who do you got, Nick?
Bears need a quarterback. Don't know if they're going to go in this draft. They need a defensive backfield. Eddie Jackson's the only player I really like on that whole defensive backfield. And then they need receivers.
All right, Canyon.
Yeah, receivers would be bad. Allen Robinson's a decent number 1 wideout. I definitely say that's a nice weight thing. There's a lot of good people in waiting spots since the receiving class is so deep. Definitely defensive backfield help though, just to aid those edge rushers, and then they'd be a nightmare defense.
All right, I'm going to go offensive line, defensive line, and then safety. Moving on to the Titans, Nick.
Titans look good to me. They are one of the teams that only have one need for, and that is a quarterback. Sorry, Tannehill.
All right, Canyon.
Quarterback.
Tannehill is a part of the game manager school, which actually works pretty well. Tom Brady would know. He was like that for the last few years. He was in New England. Anyways, they need an edge rusher. They need a defensive line, and they need to replace Conklin on the offensive line.
I'm going to go whole defensive line and then offensive line. That's about it. Eagles.
Defensive back and receivers. Receivers and defensive backs, 100%. Nothing else.
All right. Canyon?
That's also literally all I need. Emphasis and 5 exclamation points for receiver.
Yeah.
And maybe a linebacker in there too. We'll throw a linebacker in there.
Y'all said it all. Not even going to repeat it. Rams.
Coach.
What? Sean McVay? All right.
You don't think they need a coach in this defense? Oh.
I think they're good. All right. What about you, Candy?
The roster's great. Can't do anything.
Cap space. But for real, they just need defense. They need edge rushers. Someone needs to help out Aaron Donald to get to the quarterback for sure. They need defensive backfield. They need linebackers. They just need defense, and they need cap space. They have negative cap space.
I think they need safety and running back. Replace Todd Gurley. Come on. All right, Vikings. Don't you say quarterback.
I won't say it. But no, they need to replace Stephon Diggs because he was a huge part of their offense. Defensively, I think they need to replace the defensive front. Everson Grisham's free agent. Danielle Hunter's great, but they need to replace defensive nose guard specifically.
All right, Canyon Vikings.
They just signed Kirk Cousins to an extension. They need to go get him another receiver to complement Thielen and also Rudolph.
Terrible.
They definitely need some defensive backfield help, more specifically at corner. And yes, go please replace your phenomenal edge rusher that was underrated as hell, and they need help there desperately right now.
I'm going to go corner, receiver, and defensive end. Replace the guys that left, basically. Texans, besides a new head coach and general manager.
That's exactly what I was going to say. They need an offensive line to protect Sean Watson. They need to replace their star receiver.
All right, Canyon.
someone opposite of J.J. Watt, someone right next to J.J. Watt in the interior, and yeah, go ahead and try and find another wide receiver, but will be kind of hard replacing Hopkins. But
I'm going to go offensive line, defensive line, and corner. And then head coach and GM. All right, going to the Bills. We got our last 7 here. Bills.
Quarterback.
All right, Canyon.
Oh, please! They need edge. They need an edge and a cornerback.
Defense looks fine.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm gonna say Josh Allen's decent. He's a game manager.
I think the Bills need a running back because Frank Gore ain't gonna live forever. Running back, tight end, and then an offensive lineman to protect Josh Allen. Even though I kind of think he's lacking.
Idiot. Yeah.
All right, going to the Seahawks. What do you think?
Offensive line, my God, give the guy a break. He's run around his whole fucking career, and he's still amazing. Give the guy a chance to breathe. Offensive line. Defensively, looks good. I like it.
All right, Canyon.
Just imagine a world where Russell Wilson actually had to throw the ball and how many more games he would have won.
MVP.
So, yeah, I'm going to say the entire offensive line, tackles, and interior. I have a feeling that Clowney's either going to go back to the Seahawks or sign with the Titans. Obviously, if they don't think, like themselves personally, don't think Clowney's coming back, then they need edge as well.
All right. I'm going to say offensive line. That's really all they need, and maybe an edge rusher. That's about it. Offensive line, poor guy. All right. Rapid Pats. What do you got?
Huh?
Going through this. Pats.
I'm not going to say it. Defensive line and linebacker.
All right. Canyon.
They for sure need a linebacker. They need an edge rusher. They need wide receivers because Marquise Lee he's a good 2 or 3 guy. They need a number 1.
All right. You're basically saying the whole damn team. Jesus.
That's fucked up.
Quarterback.
I'm going to say quarterback, tight end, and linebacker. Chiefs.
They need
just maybe another cornerback. They look great. Don't really need much.
All right, Cannon.
Corner, interior line, and oh my God, if they draft DeAndre Swift at the end of the first round, that's just scary. It's not okay.
All right, I'm going corner, offensive line, and maybe another linebacker for depth. 49ers.
Nothing at all. Absolutely nothing.
All right. Canyon.
Another receiver definitely wouldn't hurt since they lost Emmanuel Sanders. Actually,
they're good.
I'm not even going to say that wouldn't hurt. They need another receiver. They need an interior defensive lineman to replace. Was it Armstead that went to the Colts?
Yes.
Right? Yeah, they need to replace him. And, another corner opposite of Richard Sherman.
I'm going to go receiver. They need another number 2 receiver, offensive lineman, and defensive line for depth. Saints.
Defensive back. And another tight end.
All right. Canyon.
I'd definitely say like a solid number 2 wideout would be pretty decent. Again, with this huge class, that'd be pretty nice. Corner, since Eli Apple is no longer there, and linebacker.
I'm going to go linebacker, offensive line, and safety. And 2 more. Packers. Who do you got, Nick?
The future quarterback. And then with that, a defensive backfield.
All right. Canyon?
Defensive backfield, and you can give Aaron Rodgers another weapon, whether that be a wide receiver or a tight end. I'd be completely fine with that.
I'm going to go receiver, defensive backfield, and a tight end. And then last one is the Ravens. Besides quarterback, who do they need?
They need a quarterback to throw football. Other than that, they're honestly beautiful looking on the roster.
All right. Canyon?
Listen, Lamar Jackson's a great quarterback. The only thing that might get him is that he's a running quarterback, and they end up dying always. I hope he doesn't. He's a phenomenal quarterback, though, so I will not tolerate that slander on here. They need to replace C.J. Mosley when they lost him, and replace Marshall Yonda.
I'm going to go linebacker, offensive line,
I'll give you Yonda.
and maybe another receiver and a thrower of the football. All right. So
subtle, real subtle.
That's not cool. Lamar Jackson's a good quarterback, bro.
Real subtle.
rolled through the team needs. Now we are about to go to our mock drafts. All 32 teams. We got 55 minutes to do this before the draft starts. So, without further ado, what we have all been waiting for. Hunter, Nick, Canyon's mock drafts. Here we go. Nick with the first pick of the 2020 NFL Draft. The Cincinnati Bengals select
Joe Burrow, quarterback from LSU. Easy pick. Whether it's a one-time thing or not, he had probably the greatest season by a quarterback we've ever seen in college football history. 76% completion, 5,600 yards, 60 touchdowns, only 6 interceptions. The best passing efficiency rating of all time in college football history. Easily Joe Burrow, and they need a quarterback. No doubt about it.
All right, Canyon, what do you think?
For sure, Joe Burrow. This is like basically back like Sam Bradford era where they basically went and like offered him a contract. You can't do that anymore, but Joe Burrow, hometown guy, doesn't like Skyline Chili for some reason, but Joe Burrow's the very obvious pick here.
I'm going to go Joe Burrow as well. I mean, he is an all-around good quarterback, good IQ, good poise in the pocket, accurate, phenomenal guy. I mean, it's a no-brainer, and that's if they don't draft him, the world might end tomorrow. So, Joe Burrow, first pick in the NFL Draft, period.
That's
the end.
true.
We're moving to the second pick. Nick, who is your second pick? Who the Redskins drafted?
I disagree with it, but they're going to take all right. They're going to take Chase Young. They don't need a defensive lineman, if you ask me, but they're going to take Chase Young because that guy's a freak of nature physically. He's labeled a defensive lineman. The guy could probably play outside linebacker and hang with most tight ends. He's that athletic as a defensive lineman. So he's going to be the number 2 pick. If they needed a quarterback, I'm sure if they felt they had to get one, I'm sure they'd go for Tua or Herbert. But they're going to take Chase Young. Ron Rivera's all but said it. So that's an easy one.
What are you thinking, Canyon?
They have to take Chase Young. I mean, literally, why not just follow the 49ers game plan? They were in this position last year. They took freaking Nick Bosa, edge rusher out of OSU, and just freaking destroyed the NFL until it came to the Super Bowl. I mean, I think Chase Young's an obvious pick here. He's a freak of nature. Like, I don't see how you don't pick this guy. Also, Dwayne Haskins started to show promise at the end of the year. Also, from the depths of his grave, Alex Smith might be coming back. So they're okay at the quarterback spot, honestly. I definitely think they should give it a year or two to see how it plays out and not take one here. That's total smoke that they were just going to say that they were drafting too. That's a complete smoke screen to get people to trade up with them. This is going to be Chase Young right here.
I completely agree. Chase Young, it'd be stupid not to draft him. I'm not saying they don't really need a defensive lineman or an edge rusher, but they're going to draft him because he's a freak of nature. And once every 5 years, you get this one defensive lineman that comes through, and if you don't take him when you have the opportunity, you fuck up. So Chase Young is going number 2 to the Redskins, going to number 3, and this is where the mock drafts are open. This is where the shit hits the fan. Nick, who are the Lions taking, or who are they trading with?
The Lions not trading anything. They need a linebacker. The best linebacker in this draft, we'll call him a linebacker. He can play defenseman as well. Is your boy, yours too, Canyon, is Isaiah Simmons, linebacker from Clemson. They need if Chase Young were available, of course they'd take Chase Young. Who else are they going to take over Isaiah Simmons? I want someone to. That's my pick. We'll go to y'all. Tell me who they're going to take over Isaiah Simmons. Who's a bigger need?
I'll tell you what they're getting. I'll tell you my pick, Jeff Okudah, cornerback. They just got rid of Darius Slay. They don't have any cornerback to back him up. I don't see them trading their pick, even though there was big talks about them doing it. That general manager, whatever his name is never traded it before. He's not going to trade it now. Jeff Okudah to replace Darius Slay, Jeff Okudah. Who do you got, Canyon?
So just a really quick thing. I don't have any trades in my mock draft because I know that there will definitely be some. Like there's usually like on average I think 5 or 6. It's just way too complicated to do that.
Yeah.
I could touch on potential trades later, but so I'm just gonna all these teams are staying with the pick. I wouldn't be shocked if the Lions traded out, but I think you 110% have to replace Darius Slay. You have to go with Jeff Okudah. He's like had the similar grading than like Jalen Ramsey and Patrick Peterson, all those guys. Like, this is like one of the highest rated corners coming out of college. Holding zero pass interference calls last year. Just a guy, he can just take away one whole like half of the field almost for you. Like, I mean, I don't see. Don't get me wrong, Simmons is phenomenal. That's who I want the Panthers to draft. He's phenomenal. But I just don't see when you're the Lions right here after losing. You're like only decent corner. I mean, they got some decent defensive players, kind of like in the defensive backfield. But I don't see how you don't take Okudah here. Back-to-back OSU guys.
I'm gonna go Jeff Okudah as well, like you just said. All right, 4th pick of the draft. Who are the Giants taking?
Jeff Okudah.
Oh, my God.
Cornerback, Ohio State. Well, come on now. You can't argue that they need an established.
They got James Bradbury. Why do they need another
and
shutdown
who
corner?
else do they have?
They don't. Why do you need another shutdown corner?
He's
right now.
First off, you guys are over.
For the NFC
You guys
East,
are
it's not that
overcomplimenting.
big of a deal.
It's not about the division. No one drafts for the division. They draft to win
I understand that.
championships.
I don't see them needing another corner like
They
that.
need They have nobody else. They have nothing else.
All right.
It's just like, why would the Redskins draft him, Chase Young? They don't need a defensive lineman, but he's phenomenal, and it's not going to hurt him. So
I'll tell you what they need, and I'm pretty sure Canyon's going to go ahead and say it. So who do the Giants need right now?
Oh yeah, so like right here, I'm definitely going the Giants. Even though Dave Gettleman, he's always said he loves big boys. He's never actually drafted one in the first round. But I say that ends here. I'm going to say Tristan Wirfs
Exactly.
out of Iowa. They just got Barkley. They just got Daniel Jones in back-to-back years.
Got to protect them.
Those are you need someone to block.
with
Like you need someone to
y'all know
block.
this is
those
the
guys.
4th pick in the draft, right?
Yeah. And you need the offensive tackles are going to get taken very, very quickly. They're not going to be around in the
They
second
have
round.
multiple picks.
They're not going to be around in the second.
All right.
I'm going to go Tristan Wirfs as well. You got to have a guy to protect the star running back and the soon-to-be star quarterback. You got to do it. It got to happen. And I don't see them taking anybody else. If they do take Isaiah Simmons because Dave Gettleman likes his fast linebackers, I'm going to be fucking pissed. Tristan Wirfs to the Giants. Nick, who are the Dolphins taking with number 5?
The next best available quarterback, Tua. They don't take Tua. I don't care how injury prone they thought that he was in college. He's the best skilled quarterback. You could argue he's more skilled than Burrow because of his consistency in his college career, where Burrow had one phenomenal year. He's arguably the best quarterback in the draft. That's an obvious number one need for them. They should get Tua over Justin Herbert. And that's who I got.
Okay. Who do you think, Canyon?
I completely agree with that. There's actually a report that came out today about so it was a specialist in Nashville. They said that his x-rays looked pristine. They'd never seen anyone look that good 5 months out of post-injury, and that his left and his right hip after the CT scan basically mirror each other. Like there's almost like there's no injury there. However, it is still kind of scary, but a lot of the injuries he had there honestly were pretty minor, except for this last injury with his hip injury. But I don't see how the Dolphins don't, just solely based off of potential. Like Nick said, he was like on pace to honestly have one of the better college. Like Joe Burrow had the best year by far of any quarterback.
Yeah.
Tua was on pace to possibly have one of the best years out of any college quarterback. And he's so accurate throwing the football. I don't see how you don't. I mean, I don't really see how you don't take him here, to be completely honest.
They are taking Tua, period, the end. high IQ. The only downfall is he could possibly have arthritis in that hip, but I think he'll be fine. And he fits all schemes. Whatever the Dolphins want to do offensively with their brand new offense, rejuvenated, they can do it with Tua. Tua can fit any scheme possible. Spread, West Coast, power, you name it, he'll fit it. And I think that's why they're going to be drafting him above Justin Herbert at number 5.
Yep.
Speaking of Justin Herbert, who do you got the Chargers taking, Nick?
You already know it. Justin Herbert is the 3rd best available quarterback, in my opinion. And once again, back-to-back teams need back-to-back quarterbacks desperately. The Chargers should take Herbert. My prediction is he'll beat out Tyrod Taylor, and he'll be a starting quarterback for the season.
Let's sure hope so. What do you got, Canyon?
Herbert here for sure. I mean, look at the guy. Like last year, he was potentially a top 10 pick until he elected to go back to college. And I don't really see why people knock on him. I mean, when you look at the season, so he actually had a better season this past year than he did last year. And this was a guy who's like almost a surefire top 15 pick like last year. Also, people praised Jordan Love for his junior season, the one prior to this year, where he had 32 touchdown passes and 6 interceptions. That Justin Herbert just had that season in not the Mountain West, and it was in the Pac-12. Even the Pac-12 is not the best football conference, but it's definitely better than the Mountain West. I don't see why some people are like, oh, well, Herbert doesn't really step up in big situations. Oh, he won the Rose Bowl with his feet. I don't care. It's called a game plan. Like, Herbert's a great quarterback. He's a really good quarterback. And I don't see the Chargers not going with him here, even though maybe they do prioritize tackle. But I think that they're just going to take Herbert right here.
I agree. Chargers are taking Justin Herbert. He might sit behind Tyrod Taylor. I would hope he starts above him, in front of him, but that's whatever. Justin Herbert, I'm going with him number 6. He does have some deep ball issues, inaccurate. He can be inconsistent at times. He does have a nice deep ball when it is accurate. The only problem with him is he's inconsistent at times. But he is a good system quarterback. You look at all the NFL quarterbacks, the prototypical quarterbacks out there, and he fits the scheme. Physically, he's 6'6", 236. I think he is a good quarterback. He's the 3rd best in the draft. The Chargers' number 1 need is a quarterback. It'd be stupid not to go Justin Herbert. All right, we got number 7. Who are the Panthers taking at number 7?
Number 7, since Isaiah Simmons will be gone before the Panthers get to him. The next best thing they need, my number 1 need, was defensive line. Why not take Derek Brown from Auburn? He's 6'5", 326. He's he could, 2 years ago, the guy could have held up 2 blocks in the NFL. Easily. The guy's going to be your number 1 nose guard. He's going to be starting. He's going to give Kawan Short room. Y'all still have him, right? Look, the guy's big. He's not going to rush the passer. You talk about it all the time. They probably had the worst rushing defense last year. Did they?
32.
This guy's going to change things by himself. He can hold it. He reminds me, biased, of Vince Wilfork. Absolutely humongous guy, but he's really athletic. That's what all the scouts said in his draft combine. It's how athletic he was. His coach raved about his endurance in college. So I don't like the old boy from Auburn, the coach. That's the point. But I respected that. When you're 326, 6'5", and someone raves about your endurance, that's incredible. The guy's going to go 4 quarters holding up 2 blocks, and he's going to make a big difference on y'all's defensive line.
All right.
Y'all can cry about it all you want. That's the guy right there.
What are you thinking, Canyon? It's going to be the same as mine.
I definitely wouldn't cry about that. There are 3 guys that I'd be very, very happy with. It's just personally, I just think Simmons he's just going to be a game changer. And it might be wishful thinking that I have him dropping in my mock draft, but I just hope that they get him. But I'm going to say this, though. I'd be very happy with Derek Brown. I mean, the guy he's got great technique. He can eat up blockers. I mean, I think there's 2 clips. There's one specifically that I'm thinking about where he literally basically picked up a SEC guard and threw him into Joe Burrow and sacked him. Yeah. Like, that's absolutely insane. But I will say my other guy that I like a lot here, I mean, obviously, like if Okudah falls back, that'd be cool too, but I don't think it's going to happen. But if he does. Another thing, so Isaiah Simmons, who I think they're going to take. I'm just going to say this. If Isaiah Simmons isn't there, I would love for them to trade down. Because you want to know why? They have this freak, this monster who's currently in the southern parts of the Carolinas, who literally is, the way his body is, he's like the defensive tackles.
I know exactly. Kinlaw, man.
Von Kinlaw, dude, that guy's he weighs 2 pounds less than Derek Brown. But if you look at them side by side, you would never know. This man, he looks like a Greek god. He looks like freaking Poseidon. He does. Like, this guy is a freak. He's not even polished. He's not polished at all. Imagine if you get him with a good defensive line coach. Yeah. This guy's ceiling is ridiculously high because all his moves he had a simple push-pull move and then a move that he just simply said, "I'm stronger than you." That's the only moves he had. He's like a very raw prospect, but this dude just because of he's a freaking. I mean, he's just insane. He's like mind blowing to me how big this guy is and how strong he is. If you compare him with the defensive line coach, he'll be phenomenal. So Simmons here, I'm just going to say this as a fan, so I'm going to get this out. They don't have him there. Please just trade down. If Derek Brown or Kinlaw's there after you trade down, I'm super happy with it.
I'm going to go Isaiah Simmons. Panthers need every need in the book when it comes to defense, and guess what? One player fits every single need. Isaiah Simmons. He's a freak of nature. Take him. If he's not there, I might cry. I want Isaiah Simmons, period, the end, for the Panthers. Number 8. Try to go through this a little quicker. Cardinals. Who are you taking?
Number 8, Andrew Thomas, one of the best tackles rated in the draft, 6.4 grade. He's huge. He's 6'5", 315. So he is, just judging off his prospect grade alone, he's easily that was my number 1 need for them. So that's an easy one for me.
All right. Canyon?
Yeah, same position, just different guy. I mean, I think to be completely honest, I think a lot of these tackles are pretty interchangeable. It's a very great, like those top 4 guys are insane.
Right.
Though Thomas, he was a guy who was considered like a lot of people thought the Panthers were going to take him until we got Okun, like honestly. But instead I have Jedrick Wills from Alabama here. Just a phenomenal play. Like I don't really know what else to say. He played in the SEC against the toughest competition and definitely for sure held his ground.
I'm going to take Jedrick Wills as well. Me and you have the same exact mock draft so far. Good offensive lineman in general. He's more of a run blocker, which, guess what? They ran the ball very well last year. They're probably going to try to improve the passing game, but he's a good run blocker. He is athletic enough to switch and get better at his pass blocking. But all around good offensive lineman. I'm going Jedrick Wills as well. Who do you got at number 9, Nick?
Number 9 for the Jaguars. We're talking about replacing Calais Campbell and company there. I'm going to go with your boy, Javon Kinlaw, defensive lineman, South Carolina. The guy is, I thought no one could compare to Khalil Mack physically. He's bigger than Mack, but you know how his arms stick out like a sword. I mean, this guy, like a great guy, like you say, the guy's crazy, man. He's the next best defensive player, honestly, in the draft behind like Simmons. And like he really is. And he's going to be – I think he's going to fit perfectly in the Jaguar system. I think they get him if he's still there. So 9, Kinlaw.
All right. Kenyon?
Yep. Just Kinlaw, obviously phenomenal story. Just want to put that out there too. Amazing story, being homeless and such. But I'm going to say here, again, this also is aftermath of my wishful thinking for the Panthers. I'm going to say the Jaguars take Derek Brown right here. Same position, just goes along with my wishful thinking path with the Panthers getting Simmons. So yeah.
All right. Well, you know what?
Something wrong with that?
This is weird because again, same pick, but we got a trade. I put trades in mind. The Falcons have been looking to trade up for a while, and the Jaguars were okay with trading down. Falcons take the pick number 9 and get Derek Brown to solidify a piece of their defensive line. And Christian McCaffrey, you're in a division with Christian McCaffrey. You got Alvin Kamara, and now you got Ronald Jones, who they might draft another running back. Who knows? You need somebody to stop the run in the middle. Derek Brown is going to be the Falcons guy, and the Jaguars just traded down. All right. So number 10,
So
who are the Browns? What'd you say?
Would you get an extra point if that actually happened with the trade?
Of course.
Or would we stay even?
Of course.
All right, cool.
All right. Who are the Browns taking?
We stay even. The Browns, I said, you guys already said him way early on, which I wasn't expecting. Jedrick Wills. Actually, I'll talk about another offensive line. Jedrick Wills from Alabama. Just a big old boy, but really athletic. Dude, he is, dude. The guy, he is, man. It's awesome. They need a dominant offensive lineman. They haven't had one since Joe Thomas, one of the greatest. He'll be a Hall of Famer. One of the greatest linemen of all time. Honestly, their offensive line wasn't that great when he was there, but he literally was amazing every year until the day he retired. I'm not saying he's going to replace a great like that, but he honestly will be a starter if they draft Jedrick Wills in the draft at this number 10 spot. He'll be a starter next year.
All right. Browns. Keep it up, Canyon. Who's the Browns taking? Be the same as me.
I mean, so obviously it could change if for somehow, some way there ends up being that trade with the Redskins where they get Trent Williams, which is very possible because he bought a house in Parma, which is basically Cleveland, and there's a lot of rumors surrounding that. However, I'm going to say that this doesn't happen for right now, just for the sake of conversation. I'm going to say Mekhi Becton. They will not care about the weed thing, as they just had Greg Robinson, who is literally carrying a high school child size worth of weed in his car. So I'm going to say Mekhi Becton here. And you want to talk about a big kid? Oh,
He's
goodness, this
fucking
guy
huge.
freaking huge.
6'7".
Yeah, 6'7". Yeah.
All right. We finally got one different. I'm going to go with Andrew Thomas. Nick, I know you had him getting taken earlier. I'm going to go Andrew Thomas.
Yeah.
Big guy, speed. He can block against speed rusher, play left tackle or right tackle. He's a natural left tackle. And them getting rid of Andrew Whitworth, boom, fits right into the fucking picture.
Yeah.
So Browns going Andrew Thomas. Who are the Jets taking?
Well, I was thinking at this point, linebacker was my second biggest need. I said offensive line. I really felt they're going to take – this is what I think they're going to take. The next best available defense player to me is K'Lavon Chaisson, linebacker from LSU.
Okay. All right, Canyon?
I don't see how there's any way that they don't take one of those top 3 wide receivers here. And in my personal opinion, the one who they will take is Jerry Jeudy. However,
It's possible.
I will not question them if they take Ruggs or if they take CeeDee Lamb. But I will question them if they do not take a receiver here. Jerry Jeudy, next pick.
I don't have them taking a receiver, but they very well could. I'm going to have them taking Mekhi Becton. They need an offensive line just as good as they need a receiver. And Mekhi Becton is going to be their guy. We just talked about him. Good fucking run blocker. He's a hog molly, 6'7", 350 plus. They need an offensive lineman just as much as they need a receiver. I'm going to go offensive lineman ahead of receiver. All right. Number 12. Who are the Raiders taking?
My boy, I think he's the best. I know Jerry Jeudy's rated a little bit higher. I think he's the best receiver in the draft. CeeDee Lamb from Oklahoma.
All right.
Mainly because I think Gruden also likes a guy that can what?
Good.
You don't like that?
No, just continue.
Oh, okay. He's dual threat. The guy's going to do punt returns. He's a smart player. He played in a pretty pass-oriented offense, so he knows how to run the routes. He can be a possession receiver. He can be a deep threat. He is the best all-around receiver to me, just as I watch him play. Obviously, the draft grade has Jerry Jeudy first. But I think CeeDee Lamb would fit John Gruden's preference over anybody else at receiver.
All right, Cannon, who you got? Raiders taking.
So I'm back agreeing with Nick on some stuff. This is probably the first one we agreed on since the second pick.
Nice.
Definitely want CeeDee Lamb here. He bless you? Question mark.
That was cough.
I definitely think he very well might be the best receiver in this draft, to be completely honest. And I know, and maybe this is what you're possibly going to say, Hunter, because I guess you were kind of whatever with Nick's talk about this. But if someone brings up the LSU game, just keep in mind who else is on his team, seriously, to take any attention off of him. And he still had a pretty decent game, but he's a great wide receiver, would be a phenomenal pick. You can get Derek Carr a weapon, maybe see if he can become a good NFL quarterback with actually having a receiver. Maybe that's the missing piece, that he actually just had to have someone to throw the ball to.
It's true.
I have them taking the best receiver in the draft, Jerry Jeudy. Right?
Second best.
What CeeDee Lamb lacks in speed, Jerry Jeudy has with his route running, and he's even faster in general when he plays.
Better hands.
I'm gonna take Jerry Jeudy from Alabama to the Raiders. He is the best receiver in this draft, in my opinion.
Best.
I love him, and Raiders are definitely going to take him. And if they don't take him, they're going to get CeeDee Lamb. But they're going Jerry Jeudy. All right, we got a couple. We're about halfway through. Let's try to speed this up. We got 30 minutes. Who are the Jaguars? Not the Jaguars. 49ers.
49ers, you already said his name way early on. Shocked me. Tristan Wirfs, 6'5", 320 tackle from Iowa. Honestly, he's just I don't know much about him. Y'all apparently love the guy. Y'all brought him way early.
Yeah.
I thought some of these other bigger guys would be more, looked at in the NFL, but I'm going to go Tristan Wirfs because there's not many needs that the 49ers actually need. But I think he was one of the best available players in the draft, looking at his prospect grade. So,
all right. Canyon?
Give me the Greek god himself, Javon Kinlaw here, to replace Armstead. That would be
that's not fair.
Phenomenal pick. That would be that would have to pick here.
All right.
That would have to pick here.
What I got, I just spoiled it. I got another trade. The 49ers have been shopping around their pick. They don't really need the number 13 pick, as you just said, and they were very, very pleased to go or to trade. And the Jaguars need somebody, and that somebody is C.J. Henderson. So 49ers trade to number wherever, and the Jaguars take number 13 pick and go C.J. Henderson to solidify a cornerback. They wanted to jump up because the Buccaneers and Broncos both need a corner. So why not Jaguars jump up and get that cornerback and C.J. Henderson? Number 14, who are the Bucs taking?
Big boy himself, old Mekhi Becton, Louisville. God, y'all went O-line really, really early. I thought I was going early in my O-line. You already said it. You already know what I'm talking about. Big boy, left tackle. Reminds me of Trent Brown. Last time Brady played with a guy this big, a left tackle, they won the Super Bowl. Wow.
All right.
Just saying.
Big words. Go ahead, Canyon.
All right. I'm going to agree with the position, just different person, just because we had different people early on. I'm going to say right here, go Andrew Thomas, tackle at Georgia. Phenomenal player. Even better, he's a great run blocker with the skills to develop into a good pass blocker. This is a spot, though, and I guess like the 49ers could definitely trade back too, so I forgot to address that. I would not be shocked to see the Bucs just say screw it and just try and trade up for whoever is like their number 1, number 2, number 3 guy on the draft board and just go all in. Why not? I mean, you have a 2-year championship window right now, do you not?
Yeah.
So, but that could be a possibility. But like I said, I have no trades in mind just because it gets really complicated like that. So I'm just going to say Andrew Thomas, tackle out of Georgia.
I'm taking a big risk right here. I kind of spoiled it early on. Running back. Buccaneers need one. Ronald Jones is not the guy.
Get out of here.
Buccaneers are going to be taking DeAndre Swift, running back, Georgia. Period. The end. It's going to happen. They need a running back, and they're going to get him right now. Why not? Why not wait? They don't. There's no offensive lineman left in my draft, in my first round. That's really worth the shit. Besides Cesar Ruiz and they don't really need a center. So I'm gonna go.
God.
DeAndre Swift, running back, to fit that spread scheme that they are creating in Tampa. Number 15. Who are the Broncos taking?
Y'all disagreed with me for some reason that they didn't. Y'all think they don't need a quarterback. That was my number 1 need. So naturally, the next available quarterback. This is the biggest iffy one that I had the whole time. I think Jordan Love, quarterback, Utah State.
Not bad.
A lot of people think he was going to go either late first round or second, but looking at team needs, why not? That should be the number 1 priority. To me, y'all obviously disagree on the whole quarterback need thing, but that's how I feel about it.
I see Jordan Love fall into the second round, and if he's available for the Broncos, then I think they would take him. But who you got, Canyon?
Yeah, I think that Drew Lock is a pretty good young quarterback. So I'm going to give him some help here and give him someone who can blow the absolute top off of a defense. Probably the most. Maybe outside of just in general, most athletic guy, position-wise, definitely an argument to be made. Isaiah Simmons is the most athletic, considering position. But most athletic, period, Henry Ruggs, he literally just going to they're just going to say, hey, just go run.
That's early. Wow.
Just run.
Yeah, I mean, it's 40.
See, look, I'm not going to go Henry Ruggs yet. You just said it. Their other receiver, fucking shit. Cortland Sutton. He's a big, tall receiver. They need another big, tall guy to fit with that scheme that they got going on. I don't see Henry Ruggs being an outside receiver, and they don't have one. I think CeeDee Lamb is going to step in. I know, but they don't have another one. I see CeeDee Lamb being that number 2 receiver right beside Cortland Sutton. Don't really need to worry about the slot receiver yet. CeeDee Lamb He's available. He's the second best wide receiver on the board, in my opinion. Go ahead and get CD Lamb for the Broncos. All right. Number 16 pick. Who do you got, Nick?
CJ Henderson. I believe, Hunter, you already called his name earlier from Florida. They need a defensive back, the Falcons. And I think from what I have on my list, he's arguably the best defensive back in the draft. I like his size, 6'1", 204. Not the fastest, but still runs a 4.3 40. So physically,
he's a beast.
He is an athletic beast. And honestly, he could be stupid, not be very knowledgeable of the game, and still make plays just on pure athleticism. So I think that's a great pick for the Falcons.
All right, Canyon?
Yeah, I'm going to go CJ Henderson here, but go back on that one thing. I just want to, hey, Nick, as a Patriots fan, how important is a slot receiver?
Very important. We get that.
Very important.
They need a number 2, a big, tall guy.
Yeah. So,
of Leo.
Yeah. So, all right. So back to this. CJ Henderson out of Florida definitely would help the Falcons out a lot. The Falcons, that's a team I definitely like. I think it was in your mock draft, Hunter. You had them trading up to like the 9th pick, I believe, something like that. I can see the Falcons totally trading up in this. They've been talking about it a lot because I don't know if this is a smokescreen or what, but some people think Henderson's actually better than Okudah. I mean, I watched some film. He competed in the same conference, obviously. There were a few plays that he looked very foolish on, but there were very few of them. And it was kind of like, I think one of them he tripped or whatever, and it was something stupid. Like, he's a very, very good corner, very big guy. He'd be a great pick right here for the Falcons.
All right. Well, the Falcons traded up to take the Jaguars pick at number 9, and the Jaguars fell to number 16. And number 16 pick, y'all said him earlier, Javon Kinlaw is going to the Jacksonville Jaguars, defensive lineman. They need some defensive line depth. They need defensive line in general, getting rid of Calais Campbell. They don't have shit on defense. They just picked up a corner, and now they just got a defensive line. That's 2 big needs they just solidified right there. And later on in the draft, they can get some depth here and there. But they just got their 2 big guys at 13 and 16. 16, Javon Kinlaw. 17, Cowboys.
Cowboys, I'm staying in the defensive back area. Jeff Gladney from TCU. I don't know, honestly, if anyone knows who he is. His numbers don't wow you. He certainly isn't that fast for his size. But his senior year was great. I like his athleticism. He's only 5'10", with a vertical jump of 37.5 inches.
That's not that much.
Oh, yeah.
That's not
that. I can do almost 1/12 of that. So, yeah, his athleticism is what I love. Dude, there's so many athletic cornerbacks. I just want to say it. This guy's small, 5'10", 191, but he can jump almost 40 inches in the air. That's crazy.
What are you thinking, Canyon? Cowboys.
Well, so I definitely think so he's actually more of a slot guy, maybe, just because of how athletic he is. But I would definitely go face on here. I mean, he's definitely, like, I would say, very clear-cut second best edge guy in this draft, obviously behind Chase Young himself. I think it's a very big need for the Cowboys right now after losing. They just lost Robert Quinn. So having someone opposite Lawrence would be huge, and I think that Jason is clear-cut second-best edge guy in this draft.
Agree. Completely agree. Going with that same exact pick. Edge. They need some fucking pressure. They don't have it. They're poor. I mean, their offense is solid. Their defense is what needs work, and that defensive line needs some fucking work. I'm not even going to spend much time on it. We got the same exact pick. Moving. Number 18. Who do you got?
The next best available wide receiver after CD Lamb, Jerry Jeudy. The next best thing, if you get Tua, if you get an offensive lineman, you need someone to throw the ball to, and they desperately need wide receivers. So Jerry Jeudy, who's one of, not the best, but one of the best receivers in the draft, should be picked up by the Dolphins. 18.
Who do you got, Canyon?
All right, let me just say this. Safeties are very underrated in this draft. Some would say all of them deserve to go on day 2, all the top guys. I say the Dolphins address a safety need right here. They draft Xavier McKinney from Alabama. Holy crap, this guy can freaking hit. He's not extremely well. Actually, he's relatively athletic. His 40 time was like a 4.6 though, so that was a little bit alarming. However, his like I would call it his kill speed, his speed he attacks his prey with. His closing speed is insane. When he sees someone that he wants to hit, he closes on them like faster than almost anyone. This man can absolutely rock anyone on the football field, and he's got pretty good ball skills too. I think Xavier McKinney, safety out of Alabama, would be a great addition for the Dolphins here to help out Mr. Byron Jones.
Another trade going through.
God almighty.
I think the Redskins are going to trade up with the Dolphins to the number 18 spot, and they're going to address another linebacker situation, inside linebacker, in Patrick Queen, linebacker LSU. Thomas Davis is now going to be the middle linebacker for the Redskins. Why not get a linebacker that can soon take his place and get trained up by one of the best linebackers in the NFL, veteran-wise? I think Patrick Queen is going to the Redskins at number 18, trading with the Dolphins.
Whatever you feel, man.
Number 19, Raiders. Got 20 minutes.
Number 19, Raiders. Arguably the most athletic person besides Isaiah Simmons in the draft. Kenneth Murray, linebacker from Oklahoma. Hunter, I said linebacker, and I'm also going to say this, 4.5 40-yard dash. And I said linebacker. The guy is physically unstoppable. Granted, he's small. He's not some big guy. He's only 6'2", only 240. But that speed right there, that's outside linebacker heaven. That was now y'all might disagree, but that was one of my needs for the Raiders. That's why I went with him, because he was the next available on my list.
All right. What about you, Canyon?
All right, so I'm going to go in the opposite direction as someone who people have questions about his athleticism. However, given he did not have the best athleticism, he still dominated in the Big Ten. I'm going to take possible interior defensive lineman. I'm thinking possibly a 3-tech guy, but he could play edge or deep tackle. Doesn't matter. AJ Epinesa from Iowa. Someone who definitely fell down draft boards after his combine. However, as much as the Underwear Olympics is very entertaining to watch, it doesn't paint the complete picture of a player. This guy I think he had back-to-back double-digit sack seasons. Regardless of how athletic or unathletic he may be, he's athletic enough to be like a big-time rusher in the Big Ten. That's good enough for me. Raiders get a pass rusher right here.
So my two big needs for the Raiders was receiver and corner. They already got Jerry Jeudy, the best receiver in the draft. And now they're going to get a corner, best available corner. Jalen Johnson, cornerback, Utah. They need another guy because they don't have shit.
Jalen Johnson?
I do. What's their number one corner, honestly, right now?
I like the corner. I just don't know if he was the best available.
Oh, no. Yeah, he's the best available in mine right now. I don't know if you have another guy up there. But Jalen Johnson, big, tall, 6 foot. I mean, he's not really big and tall, but 6 foot, 195, and he's a good zone cornerback. He lacks in man, but he makes up for it in zone, and guess what? They play a lot of zone in Las Vegas. So I'm going to go Jalen Johnson, cornerback, Utah, to the Raiders. That helps their cornerback situation. Going to number 20. Who are the Jags taking?
Number 20. Only reason I put him on here is because, they could always – they need a receiver. It's not the main need, but they need one. Henry Ruggs, third. Literally – the speed is the one and only reason. Well, granted, look, I mean, he's solid. He's an explosive player. But we know a 4.27 40, that's pretty special.
He's a tire killer.
You cannot let him – like, the fact that he's on my list sitting here at the 20th pick, I think that's almost late. Some people could have argued that maybe he'd rather go, or maybe John Gruden rather have him at the Raiders. Maybe the Dolphins rather have him over Jerry Jeudy. But his speed is phenomenal. I thought this was low. I don't think y'all said his name yet. If you did, I'm sorry I missed it. 20, I thought was low for him, and I think the Jags are going to snag him up if he's still there.
All right, Canyon?
I'm actually going with another Big Ten rusher, someone who's considered possibly the most underrated defensive end in all of college football, Gross Matos out of Penn State. I forget how to pronounce his first name, but he is a phenomenal talent. I do think he's very overrated, and I think he could be a very, very, at least serviceable, not a pretty awesome defensive end in the NFL, to be completely honest.
He's still learning the position. So, yeah. A good pick. Well, my number 20, I'm going to go with another wild card. Jaguars getting rid of Leonard Fournette soon, so I think they need another running back to.
Shut your mouth.
I think they need another running back to
Since
suit that power run.
2005.
And they're going Jonathan Taylor, running back, Wisconsin. Good running back, good all around. He is a every down back, finishes 5'10", 226, and he is a power back. But he's also, don't let him fool you, he's an elusive motherfucker too. And I think he's going to go at number 20 to the Jacksonville Jaguars, who, sorry, Leonard Fournette, you're gone. Number 21, Eagles.
Next best receiver. Granted, he was really only great last year, kind of like Joe Burrow. Justin Jefferson, LSU, wide receiver. Honestly, literally was not stopped in the entire playoffs, dominated the college football championship game. Obviously, Burrow got player of the game, but easily close second.
Yeah.
Was his numbers, put up over 200 yards and 4 or 5 touchdowns. He's explosive. His numbers don't scream at you, but I think you already mentioned that earlier, Canyon. You mentioned his name, and dude, he's just a great possession receiver. He won't put up 200-yard games, I don't think, in the NFL, but he's a good route runner and he's a smart receiver. So he's a good possession receiver. And the Eagles need the next best available, which for me was him.
All right. Canyon?
So I'll say your pick before this made all Eagles fans cry when you took Ruggs right before their pick.
Robbed him.
Yeah. They'd probably all love that. But I'm also going to go Justin Jefferson here. While he was probably the second best wide receiver on that national championship team, when Chase comes out, oh boy, that man is insane. But Justin Jefferson, nonetheless, phenomenal wide receiver. Did absolutely phenomenal this year. He's a great guy. I think he'll be a very, very good wide receiver for the Eagles. But I do see a few of my Eagles friends crying a little bit if you have Ruggs falling that far and not quite getting there.
I'm sorry.
I'm going to go a little down the receiver board, just a little bit. I'm going to have the Eagles getting another Alshon lookalike and T. Higgins instead of Justin Jefferson.
What?
6'4", 216, hands, phenomenal strong hands, good in the red zone, and he plays like a Julio Jones to me. So I have the Eagles taking another big, strong receiver to counter Alshon Jeffrey, and then they have Deshaun Jackson still in the slot. No, they don't. Yeah, they do.
He's injured. We'll see if he comes back healthy.
They still have him in the slot. I'm going T. Higgins to the Eagles. All right. We got 13 minutes. Let's get through these quick. Vikings, 22.
Vikings. I already mentioned they got a receiver on my earlier pick for them. I'm going to go Austin Jackson, one of the best available on my list of offensive linemen out of USC.
All right. Canyon?
That would be a interesting and possibly great pick because he's a developmental tackle, but he has a extremely high ceiling. But I'm going to go with the man who Steve Smith believes is the most underrated wide receiver in the draft, and I trust Steve Smith with almost anything. I'm going to say Brandon Ayuk out of Arizona State. He's just, oh my gosh, this guy is a freaking pocket rocket. He's insane. He's great. He'll be a great addition alongside Adam Thielen.
The Vikings need a corner at number 22. I'm going to have them taking Trayvon Diggs from Alabama. Good, solid corner, playmaker. He has good size, 6'1", 205, but he does lack the deep speed. But they do need a corner right now, and they're not going to worry about getting a receiver yet because they have 2 picks. They're going to get Trayvon Diggs right now at number 22. Your Patriots, who is Bill Belichick taking at 23?
Well, I hope he's still there. I think Canyon already said AJ Epinesa from Iowa. Honestly, like he said, you look at his numbers from the combine, there's nothing too impressive about him, but he did have double-digit sacks in his last 2 seasons in college, and he's freaking huge. He reminds me of one of my favorites, your brother's team, Chandler Jones. He's 6'5", 275 pounds. And he's a pass rusher. They lost several guys in the offseason in front 7, and they'd be a good starter to replace and start building it back up. So,
all right. Canyon?
I'm going to go Zach Brown, linebacker to Wisconsin. He's just a great all-around linebacker, and
I like that.
Kind of looks like a guy that Bill Belichick would draft. That's all I'm going to say.
I'm going to have them taking a little wild card again. Cole Kmet, tight end, Notre Dame. I think they need to address the tight end position. Yes, they do, because they don't fucking have one.
I know. But
they are going to be taking a tight end early, very early. But I see him being another T.J. Hawkinson.
First pick in the draft on that guy.
Lions got T.J. Hawkinson first round last year. You saw what he did.
This guy's not T.J. Hawkinson.
Cole Kmet, tight end, Notre Dame. Patriots need one.
Yeah, if that happens.
Saints, number 24.
Saints number 24. I went wide receiver. I know they just picked up Sanders, but literally it's him and one other guy. And I'm sorry, Sanders is not what he used to be. Next available draft grade receiver was Denzel Mims. Personally, don't know much about him. I just love his height, 6'3", 207. Honestly, very similar build to Michael Thomas. We all know how big and strong he is. If he has hands anywhere close to that, we have two dual threat receivers. Both can go downfield. He's not slow. He had a 4.3 40. I think he was an underrated draft pick. I think most people had him in the second round, but this was a need for me on the Saints. So I hope they pick him up.
All right. What about you, Kenyon?
Yeah, so that'd be a good pick. He dominated the Senior Bowl, which is why he rose up some draft boards a little bit, actually, because he was actually probably going to be a day 3 pick. But right here, I have the Saints going Patrick Queen, linebacker at LSU. I think he's the best linebacker. I think he's better than Braun, to be completely honest. It's just like I just don't see Bill Belichick not taking Braun somehow for some reason. But Patrick Queen, phenomenal linebacker. I don't want the Saints to draft him because I don't want the Saints to be good. I think it'd be a great addition for him, though.
I'm going to go another linebacker. They do need linebackers in general, and you just said they do. To wrap it up, Kenneth Murray, linebacker, Oklahoma. They need an edge rusher. Cameron Jordan on one side. They need another guy to rush the fucking quarterback. And Kenneth Murray can fit that scheme. So I'm going to go Kenneth Murray to help Cameron Jordan out on the opposite side of the football, or on the other side of the football, and go Kenneth Murray, 24, Saints. Going to number 25. Who are the Vikings taking for their second pick?
I still have yet to figure out the guy's last name. I don't know if anyone on TV says it right. Brandon Ayuk. Ayuk from Arizona. Completely underrated. Honestly, kind of a terrible combine grade. As far as speed goes, his size isn't anything spectacular, but I love his vertical jump, and I love his hand. I love his hands. Literally, he reminds me of biased. This is automatically I think of Patriots players. N'Keal Harry. He's going to win 50-50 balls, guaranteed almost every time. So I love that pick for them, and that's, like I said, one of my needs. Right. Well, I told you I had a lot of receivers going in this one, man.
Same here. All right, who do you got, Kanan?
Go with someone who Nick picked earlier. I'm going to go with Jalen Johnson, quarterback out of Utah. This guy is like by far the swaggiest freaking corner in college football. He absolutely loves to go man-to-man, one-on-one with people. He realizes that he has the potential to get absolutely embarrassed by someone, but he just feeds off of that, and he plays with like a certain kind of swagger. He's a really good corner. Utah was a great team last year out of nowhere, and he was a big part of it.
Vikings need a receiver. I already had them picking a cornerback with their first pick. They need a receiver, and Henry Ruggs, the third, fell down to number 25. They're going to snag him to replace Stephon Diggs and to help Adam Thielen out and to help the whole entire offense with Kirk Cousins, the franchise quarterback. Number 25, Henry Ruggs to the Vikings. All right.
That's real cute.
7 minutes. 26, Dolphins.
26, I have Xavier McKinney, safety. I actually believe you had him going to the Dolphins earlier, Cannon, if I'm not mistaken. Am I right? Xavier McKinney, safety, Alabama. This was their third pick in the draft. That's why I think they're going to win the draft if they go off what I have on here. He's just it's another need on that defense. They got the front seven going. Now they need to get the defensive backs going. They got Byron Jones. This would be a tremendous compliment to Byron Jones. This is a hard hitter. It reminds me of Jamal Adams.
All right, Canyon.
Go Austin Jackson, tackle out of USC right here. Who better than the Dolphins to take a chance on someone? Am I right? Someone who might be phenomenal. It wouldn't hurt. Wouldn't hurt at all.
All right. I think they need a center. They're getting Cesar Ruiz, offensive lineman, Michigan. They need a center. They're going to address it right here at number 26 after they fell down with the trade. And, yeah, they're taking an offensive lineman. 27, Seahawks.
Seahawks, you already mentioned his name, Gross Matos. I don't even know how to say the first name. They need defensive line. I'm sorry. The situation with Clowney sucks, but they got to replace him somehow. He was very effective for them last year, and they won a little win streak when they had that edge pressure. Really helped their defensive backs, who I don't think are that bad in the first place. So if you can get another guy like him, Gross Matos is big, not quite AJ Epinesa, but 6'5", 266. He's a very good edge rusher, and like I said, he led Penn State in their conference. So.
Same here, by the way. Taking the same exact pick.
Same pick?
Seahawks. All right, what do you got, Cam?
Terrific.
All right. Well, is he going to block for Russell Wilson?
Absolutely not.
So I'm going to say who is a safer pick than Austin Jackson. However, obviously the Dolphins, I just see them just being like, screw it, let's just see what happens. So I'm going to go Josh Jones, tackle at Houston. I think currently right now he's actually better than Austin Jackson. He doesn't have quite the ceiling in my opinion, but he's definitely a safer pick, and he can definitely still be a pretty good tackle in the NFL, and we'll be able to see what Russell Wilson can do when he has time to make a sandwich in the pocket.
All right. Going on to the number 28 pick with the Ravens.
Ravens, wide receiver again. You already said his name, Hunter T. Higgins. I love his height, 6'4", great hands. Obviously not that fast, but his height and his hands, if he can develop into a smart receiver in the NFL, he can be one of the best receivers in the NFL, especially in this class. He can compete with anybody if he develops mentally. And the Ravens, to me, need a guy you could throw a 50-50 ball to besides Mark Andrews. I'm sorry, but Brown is simply too small. T. Higgins would be a great fit for the Ravens.
All right. Canyon?
Give me K9, Kenneth Murray, linebacker out of Oklahoma right here. I think he'd be a great fit for them. How he would help, maybe not quite replace C.J. Mosley right now, but he would definitely help go in that direction.
Ravens, Zach Brown, linebacker, Wisconsin. They need another linebacker. They already have a stout defense, a stout front four. Their linebackers are a little iffy. Jeff Gladney, I keep saying the wrong fucking name. Zach Brown, linebacker, Wisconsin, is going to the Ravens. All right, number 29, Titans.
29 Titans, don't know if his name was said yet. Cameron Dantzler, cornerback from Mississippi State, was one of the next available cornerbacks on the draft grade. Terrible combine numbers. I'm sorry, but a 4.64 is slower than death on crutches for a cornerback. But 6'2" is decent height. Arm length isn't that much. It's just what he did on the field was impressive. His highlights are great. He's a playmaker, and he surrounds the football, and that's all you ask for on a cornerback, which I have as one of their needs.
All right, Canyon.
I'm going to go with someone who I recently heard, Colin Cole, if you guys remember him, say that this guy reminds him a lot of Charles Johnson. I'm going to go Marlon Davidson, defensive lineman out of Auburn. He's a pretty chunky guy, but he's probably going to play defensive end, honestly. He can play like that Charles Johnson defensive end, built relatively similar, and I had a lot to like.
Digging the third round for that one, or the late second?
Off the running.
That's an undrafted free agent you just fucking got there.
That's what I'm saying.
All right.
Marlon Davidson?
He's a second. I think he's a day two kind of guy.
Oh, okay.
All right. I'm going to go cornerback. Titans need somebody on the opposite side of Malcolm Butler to help. Jeff Gladney is there. TCU corner. I mean, they only got one corner. Why not get another one when he's up there? Jeff Gladney, Titans corner. All right. 30, Packers.
30, Packers. They lost Martinez. We need to replace him with Patrick Queen, LSU linebacker. Name was already said earlier. I love fast linebackers. If you run a 4.5 to me, you're as fast as a linebacker. He outran the cornerback I just mentioned. So very athletic draft for defensive players. Patrick Queen could replace Martinez as the leading tackler on the Packers.
All right. Kenny?
Go with the man who I I won't say that he's my top wide receiver, but some people actually think that he might have a better career than Jerry Jeudy, Ruggs, or CeeDee Lamb, and go with T. Higgins. That would be kind of scary if he ended up being a very good wide receiver next to Devontae Adams, and he had Aaron Rodgers though to him. But going T. Higgins, wide receiver out of Clemson here.
Packers, I'm going another receiver, Justin Jefferson. T. Higgins already got picked before. Justin Jefferson, wide receiver, LSU. Good, consistent, good hands, speed, just an all-around good receiver. It fits the mold for what Aaron Rodgers likes in Green Bay. Justin Jefferson to the Packers, 30. 31, 49ers.
31, 49ers. Athletic defensive lineman, 6'3", 290. Ross Blacklock from TCU. I love the 4'9", 40 for the big guy. 290, you could say he's actually a little undersized, but he's going to be very quick. His arm length is exceptional at about 33 inches. So I really like the Blacklock. I almost had him for the their first pick, but that's way too soon. I'm not picking third rounders for my first round draft here, Canyon, like you. So I had to settle for the 31st pick.
All right, Canyon, who you got? Number 31, 49ers.
Already said about both of you guys. Another TCU product, Jeff Gladney, cornerback. I think it'd be a great addition to their defense. Very solid corner, and just going to keep it quick.
Very good pick. 49ers, and we'll take Brandon Ayuk. They need another receiver to help with Deebo Samuel. Wide receiver, Arizona State, Brandon Ayuk. I'm not going to say any more. You already told it. You already said all of it. Chiefs, 32, last pick of the first round.
They need a piece on that defense, a defensive back, cornerback specifically. Jalen Johnson, you already talked about him, I believe. All-around solid player, was big for Utah on for the run they had last year, where they kind of came out of nowhere and reestablished themselves in the NCAA. So he was huge for them. He was their number one player on defense. Easy choice for me.
All right, Canyon.
All right, so I'm going to go with what would just be the nightmare scenario, even though I don't know who's going to be playing on their defense. But I'm going to go DeAndre Swift, running back out of Georgia here. I feel like there will be a running back selected in the first round. There will be one, and it will be DeAndre Swift by the skin of his teeth. I think that he would be a great addition for their offense. That would be very scary. Again, still have to address some defensive needs, but I think he's the best player. He's the best football player at this point in the draft by far. At that spot.
I'm going to take the Chiefs getting another corner. They need some depth. A.J. Terrell, Clemson. They don't have many corners that go around. They only have, I think, one that's worth something. So they need another corner to solidify that defensive back position or to at least help it out. All right, guys. That has been our 2-hour special draft special live. We're going to try to do this again a couple more times on these special occasions. But thank you guys for watching. Comment. Like, subscribe, go follow us on Twitter and Facebook, or Twitter and Instagram. Thank you to Canyon for joining us, and we'll catch you later.
Very good. First one out the books.